Hello, Moon's Eve, aka Carnal here, back with another blog. This time, I'm thinking about unfinished sessions, going back to old sessions, thinking about what would I have done differently here, how would I change this. The reason being, just so often I find myself not finishing things, which is kind of bad practice. It's good to finish projects, even if, for example, you're not entirely satisfied with it or it's not perfect. I've got so many unfinished things here. I've just been looking through them. So what I thought was we'd just dive into some old ones. It's from 4th year. So these aren't too old, but take for example, Connell and Neil Martin, bass player. I remember us doing this, but I can't really remember what we played, what the session was. So let's have a listen. My levels. How's that? Yeah, it's not too bad to be a bit loud for you guys, but so, right then. I've just gone for there because so many marker in the session. Not a very big session. A couple of mics in the drums, 2 bass inputs and some guitar, which looks like I did at home. Right, what we got? Drums sound okay, but weak. Can't even remember how I mic this up. Kick, probably snare top. These were 2 pencils in the hats and the rides. This was kind of above my shoulder around the toms. Oh, got reverb. There we are. Right, we've got some parallel. Bit weird. A lot high end, I don't know. The snare's cracking, but oh, that kick's doing nothing, man. Anyway. Bass drums. It's very glassy sounding. The harmonics up there. Don't know why I've done that. These were all DIs, so this fella here. There's a bit of whip going on him. Take everything off. This must have been from an actual amp. Oh, yeah. Because you see there is air. You usually don't really get that with DI guitars. must have been an amp as well. I thought it would be a DI. I can't remember because for a long time I didn't really have a mic. And this mandolin, I'm not sure how I did this, but no, I mean. I don't know where the reverb's coming from. Oh wait. I remember now. I placed a pair of headphones over my guitar and plugged them into my pedal board. Sorry, over my mandolin rather, plugged them into my pedal board and used the headphones as a mic. And as you can tell, it doesn't sound very good. Well, here we are, it's a bit more full. Right, why didn't I finish this? I think the reason is because I probably didn't even properly start it. You see, this is an issue. Arrangement kind of does need to be considered. I like to write a lot of stuff kind of on the fly. So like, I'd often have to go to the uni, I would record drums like I've done here, take it home and then work on it, kind of improvise over it. However, it needs to have a bit more structure. Because right now, that's called solo, that's called rhythm. You kind of call that solo as well. And the mandolin's doing its own thing. What's this? Oh dear. Instantly clipped.
His life so.
Oh dear. Again, I think that was probably recorded with the headphones. Enough kind of vocal ideas. How would I complete this from now? The most solid thing here is the bass playing. I'm not going to redo the bass, because Neil's an excellent player, and he was rock steady when we were kind of jamming, probably more so than the drums. I would be trying to work the drums into the bass a bit more, changing the drum sound, getting it less high-endy, and then using that. I actually quite like that kind of glassy bass tone we got here. It's pretty cool. A lot of low end as well though. Yeah, I'd be working them, and then stuff like these guitars. I mean, this guitar, there's no reverb plugins there, so I've got to work with that reverb. That probably came from a Hall of Fame pedal that I've got. I've got to work with that, and then if I were to add other reverbs and say add other parts, say if I did get proper vocal parts, that didn't clip horrifically. Oh, let's pretend we never saw that. Yeah, don't record your vox through headphones. So yeah, that's what I would do if I was to try and tidy this up. Get the drums and bass to work a bit better together, commit to this reverb, and then if I added any other elements, you'd work with that reverb. However, it kind of shows me that arranging as you go is probably a bit more important. Alright, good to come back to it. Let's close this, let's do another one. Projects, from this, let's go to and actually let's go back to this. So I'll often do copies once I come back from uni. Copy of 4th sesh save. This highlights another importance. You should really name your projects. Name and date them. Don't call it 4th sesh. Don't call it E flat 1. Call it E flat lock 1. Last mixed middle of November, you know? Right. Where are we now? Bit of a bigger session. Certainly is. Start. bring that up a wee bit in the master, a bit quieter than the last one. And I got a groovy, kind of bluesy kind of thing going on. This is very rough. The drums sound crap. It's badly compressed. I don't know what audio sim it is. That's a bit more like it. I could put that to tape. And there comes this. Bass sounds flat. Not in terms of like musically, like in terms of punch wise. The compressor's barely hitting it. See, this is another one that's obviously just kind of a jam. It's not really a thing. It's not really a complete song. And it can be difficult to try and take something like this and get it into a nice kind of polished finished product. So there's a saying now that you can't polish a turd. What would I do with this? That's a bit nicer. Everything's a bit weak here. But the issue is that, obviously, when I recorded these drums, which was just 4 mics, there's compression happening there. And once you commit to that, and I obviously didn't spend enough time in it in the studio, despite there being a lot of, well, maybe I did. This was me just trying to get the right drum sound, obviously. Sounds like I overthought it, and then I ended up committing myself to a drum sound which isn't good, and then that kind of limits what you can do when you want to come back and mix it. This is the sort of thing where you'd have to consider, is this really worth the time and effort I've been putting in to really get this to sound good, or as good as it could, when, yet again, the arrangement isn't really perfect. I mean, we've got distinct sections. I'm not saying the arrangement has to be perfect, but there's no real, nothing's grabbing me there as a song, which for me, copy of 4th year, first studio sesh, save 1. I'm sorry mate, but I'm gonna love you and leave you. I won't really be coming back to it. Let's do one more. Where are we? Project. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna keep this again. Because Most of these ones here I've got in my documents are actual things that I've got saved properly. So you know what, let's actually continue this. Let's go back to third year recordings. Oh! We got quite a lot. Copy of Pish About. What's this? Any. Some drums, not a full session really, but they sound a bit more natural. What's this? What's going on here? This is sort of the thing where you might want to look through it and think, is there anything usable here? Okay, what's going on here? That's the sort of thing I'd maybe come back to at one point. Again, to tidy it up, and then really work with the drum sound first, and then think, right, what can I add to this? I'd add to it in a bit more of a structured way. Let's do one more, just because that wasn't a full. But let's keep it in that third year bit, because there was a lot of things there. And I suspect a lot of unfinished items. That's in the wrong bit. Mandolin tune G. Let's see what this has to offer. Come on, Pro Tools. There we are. Slightly bigger. Rhythmically speaking, kind of cool. And you know it's been processed, because like, look, I've actually not got a thing on this here, apart from the compressor, on some parallel stuff. Which probably isn't even set. Yeah, it's smacking. That's cool. This is kind of the sort of thing where you might come back to it and think, you know what? This is sounding pretty cool. I mean, maybe not performance-wise in terms of the singing, but here. See, that's gone through like a reverb unit. What's this? Another one that went through the reverb. Overdub, it's not the same one. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And that's me singing. Jeez. Not something I usually do. But this is kind of cool. And you know why? The reason I'm liking it. With the other ones that I showed you, I'd already gone through them and there had been stuff added to them, for the most part. I mean, the last one, the drums weren't really committed. Sorry, the drums were committed, rather. They weren't really processed much in the box. But this is kind of a mix. This is like sounding pretty good as it is, in terms of like, nothing's recorded too hot, which I don't think. You see, nothing's, I mean, that one is there, but nothing's coming in too hard. There's some headroom. And I kind of like the vibe of it. This might be the first time I've recorded a mandolin, in fact. And what I'll be doing here is I'll be tidying up these drums a bit. I would actually be thinking to myself, right, let's get a kind of cool drum sound, because the drums are pretty steady, kind of in time throughout. And I quite like these. You see these two guitars, the mandolins rather. This one and this one as well. I mean, they need EQ'd, everyone's kind of EQ'd, and there'll be some kind of compression on it. It's a lot of high end. I mean, like, for example, if we were to just pop a quick span on here. That's the thing I love to do, spectrum analyzer. Just put that here. There's a lot of heads. That's from medium very close to the mic. But the whole spectrum is there to work with. There's no bits where we've got to really add stuff. There's air. So yeah, like there is air, there's treble, there's mids, and there's bass. That isn't going to be coming from an actual bass instrument itself, which I could add, and like therefore if I were to add something like that, I would try and take it out of the other instruments. You know, I'm actually going to come back to this and have a look at it. However, all I know is that mandolin tune G. I don't know when it's from. I mean, I could look that in the session details, but some things to take away from this are: it's good to try and get a good sound right from the start. Too many of those drums I looked at weren't really great, despite even a couple of sessions, or the previous session I looked at. It's obviously spent ages. I think it was like half an hour I'd spent, obviously, trying to just get the right drum sound, and then didn't even sound very good. But something to take away from this certainly is, don't waste your time going back and just messing with things that isn't really going to be useful. For example, this one, copy of Fourth Year First Studio Sesh, which is named dreadfully, but like, it's weak, it doesn't sound good, there's not really a song there. Fair enough, we tried, this is a discarded idea, I'm not going to use it. Like, I'd say, yeah. Obviously I'm going to accompany this blog with a written thing, which you can check out at moonseve.co.uk. You can also check out my other videos that I've done so far. I did a wee listening analysis session, which was pretty cool. You can check that out. And also my first video where I tried to downloaded a Cambridge multi-track session and tried to mix it in 20 minutes. I didn't mix it in 20 minutes, but still worth checking out. I might do a follow-up to that. But hopefully this has been interesting, giving you some insight into why it's good to try and complete things, not have them sitting around for ages in old hard drives and stuff. Why it's maybe good to, think properly about the sound right from the start, as opposed to trying to sort it out later. And also why it's appropriate to name things, because I don't know if I'll show you just again there, but Fourth Year recordings, they're not named properly. and they're not named properly either. So yeah, something to think about. Moon's Eve out.